So in our industry, another topic that comes up more specifically a little bit on the residential sector is one-day floors versus 2-day or 3-day floors, however you choose to install it. The one-day floor, it's not a magic bullet as a lot of guys try to sell it. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You get in and out in a day, you get the customer back to their floor quicker, there's less downtime, which is great, but it's not always the best solution for the customer. As an installer of coatings, we've been in business over 12 years now. We're gonna consult with the customer, kind of find out what they're using the space for. We'll look at the concrete and find out, if a one-day floor is suitable. For a lot of one-day installs, guys are using a base coat. It's called a polyurea. You'll see advertisement out there saying that this coating is 5 times, 6 times, 10 times stronger than epoxy. They're really not getting into the facts on that. Really where your strength is coming in on a polyurea is the flexibility. The elongation on a lot of polyaspartics is around 300%. Epoxies are far less than that. The epoxy that we use on some of our coatings, it's got 150% elongation. That's extremely flexible for a lot of epoxies. Where you're gonna get drawbacks with the polyurea is you're not gonna wanna put a polyurea over damp concrete. So in Ohio, specifically residential, if we're doing garages, we get a lot of rain, like we'll get some surprise rain that comes in on us, and this is why we choose to use epoxy for all of our installs. With polyurea, if you've got any dampness or any excess of water in the concrete, that can cause that coating to foam up and then it'll fail. A lot of companies, you'll see them go in, they'll test with a moisture meter to test the moisture in the concrete, which is great for that day, but that's not to say that it won't be raining on them down the road. So just as an example, recently we were doing a garage flooring install and it started to rain on us and we got a little bit of water on the front part of the garage. A lot of the epoxies we use, they're moisture insensitive, which basically means you still don't want to coat over a standing puddle of water, but if the concrete's damp, we're able to coat over it and the concrete, it's still gonna bond. So that's a huge factor as to why we choose to use epoxy over a lot of polyurea or polyaspartics when we're putting them directly over the concrete. Polyaspartics, for example, we still use those as a top coat. They're a fantastic top coat, but we don't believe that they're the best coating for a base coat going directly over concrete. On the commercial side of our installations, we always look at it through the customer's specific needs. We might add additional coats for their facility, whereas residential, we're generally only installing a couple coats. Commercial, industrial, they're gonna be getting much heavier traffic, forklifts in some areas, heavier vehicles, heavier cart traffic, just daily abuse and wear and tear. So for that, we like to make sure that the coating is going to be thicker and designed for the heavier daily traffic. So we might spec it with numerous additional coatings, which might take 3 or 4 days. It's important to do your research to make sure that these floors are going to be acceptable for your specific installation prior to going into it further. If you have any further questions, we have some additional information on our site. You can also reach out to our team. If you fill out the form on our site, we'll get back with you and address any questions that you have.